Dana White just made some massive fight announcements in the most low-effort way possible, and he continues to glaze Jon Jones and made a Tom Aspinall announcement. Let's just get this out of the way. Tom Aspinall's fighting, and the way Dana White announced it was disgraceful. And it's really, I mean, I was about to say starting to get annoying. No, I mean, actually, what it is we're getting close to the final straw, okay? Dana White needs to stop with these low-effort announcements.
Pereira, former two-division champ, 10 of his 12 wins.
But it's not even the low-effort announcements that I'm talking about this time. It's just, after all this whole saga, in his announcement for Tom Aspinall, he still manages to glaze Jon Jones. And he announces Tom Aspinall, and it honestly looks like he's doing it begrudgingly, like he's pissed off to have the words Tom Aspinall leave his mouth. And so we're going to react to his announcement, which was disgraceful. He's not reading the room, total lack of awareness, or he's just stuck in his ways and he's too stubborn and he's sticking it to the fans. And he's got this attitude out of spite. But let's just get into the fights that were announced. We'll then get into the reaction to Dana White's announcement itself. And I'm going to crash out while watching it. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to give my early predictions for all of these recently announced fights. The first one, UFC 320 in Las Vegas, 2 title fights and a sick feature fight. Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev, the rematch is here. I'm looking forward to this. I knew this was in the works. I've been getting ready for this training camp with Magomed Ankalaev. I've been doing a pre-training camp for the training camp. I'm about to head out to Extreme Couture in a couple of weeks to get some work in with the champ. But this is the matchup that we all want to see. Big fight feel. We also have Merab returning for the co-main event title fight. Such a quick turnaround after his last title fight against Sean O'Malley, but I like that a lot for him. And he's fighting Cory Sandhagen. This is the only title fight he'll ever get if he loses this fight. But let's get on to the next one. Jiri Prochazka and Khalil Rountree. This is one of the best stylistic matchups the UFC could make right now. That is also on the exact same card. You got to think that the winner of this fight is going to be fighting for the title against whoever wins between Magomed and Alex Pereira. We also have, of course, Tom Aspinall. It's official. He's fighting Ciryl Gane. I think we all knew it. It was the worst kept secret. But either way, it's a fresh matchup. Not really the most deserved title shot for Ciryl Gane. But again, this is like one of the only guys that's close to the #1 contender spot that hasn't fought Tom yet, that hasn't been absolutely embarrassed by Tom yet. So we're going to have to see it happen. And we all knew that when Jon Jones left, because of how dominant Aspinall has been, the title picture wasn't going to be that interesting. I mean, that's just, it is what it is. That's the worst part about Jones leaving. And on the same card, this wasn't announced by Dana White, but it was announced a couple of days ago. Aleksandar Rakic versus Azamat Murzakhanov, the density maxer. That's also going to be on UFC 321. So Aspinall and Gane is in Abu Dhabi. That should be interesting. I thought we were going to maybe see Volk and Evloev or Volk versus someone else as a co-main event, but I guess that they're waiting for the MSG card, which should be in November. Maybe they're going to do Volk and Islam Makhachev on the same card. But let's get into the way that Dana White announced these fights, which really pissed me off. He finds a way to glaze Jon Jones. Just when you thought Dana White had turned his back on Jones, just when you thought he was actually fed up with Jon and kind of pissed off at him for leaving, Dana White still is holding on to Jon Jones for whatever reason. It's disgraceful. Let's hear what he has to say.
All right, UFC 320, October 4th, T-Mobile, Las Vegas. The champ, Magomed Ankalaev, defends his belt against Alex Pereira. Akalaev hasn't lost in 7 years. He has the second longest win streak.
Dude, this is so low energy. He's looking down at his phone. I mean, come on. How hard is it to memorize the big fights? Magomed Ankalaev is fighting Alex Pereira. Magomed's on a crazy win streak. I know what he's about to say. He's about to say Magomed's on a crazy win streak. Hear this.
In the UFC light heavyweight division behind who? Jon Jones.
Jon Jones. Here's the energy. There's the energy. There it is.
Jon Jones.
Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira are going to be fighting at UFC 321 with longest win streak since who?
Jon Jones. Fuck you! Fuck you! Show some respect to the fans! Come on, Dana. What are we doing?
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Yeah, there's his energy. There's his energy. See, that's the real Dana White. That's the Dana White that is not speaking in this begrudging attitude. He's resentful. He doesn't like the fans coming at him for years for enabling Jon Jones. But as soon as Jones comes to mind, the GOAT, he turns into a fanboy. Pathetic.
Let the hate begin.
But they... Ah! Oh, yeah! What up? Let the hate begin. That hand gesture from Dana White was enough to piss me off, son. Because I knew he had some energy. Look at the hand gesture. That is, you know what that is? That's a fuck you to the fans. That's literally, here, let's watch it again.
Jon Jones.
There's the smirk.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
Let the hate begin.
Let the hate begin. Ugh. It's disgraceful. Listen, in a vacuum, it would be totally okay if he had mentioned that Magomed has the second longest win streak in light heavyweight history behind only Jon Jones. If he said that, that would be okay. But the way he then parlays it into some glaze, the GOAT, and then does the hand gesture and sticks it to the fans. Let the hate begin. The way he doubles down on it, given the saga that we've all been through for years, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful to have that energy after you say that. After having zero energy announcing a big rematch between Magomed and Alex Pereira. Wait till you hear the way that he announces Tom Aspinall. Keep in mind, Jones is gone. Jones is no longer in the UFC, okay? They've got a new heavyweight champion that's not just your average heavyweight. There's a reason why Jones left. It was because Tom Aspinall was so terrifying, such a phenom, the shortest average fight time in UFC history, that is. Tom Aspinall is so scary and so dangerous. Dana's GOAT tucked his tail in between his legs and ran away from the sport. And they're not coming out with an announcement alluding to the fact that Aspinall's so scary, the GOAT of the sport didn't want anything to do with him. Forget even that. They're not coming out with this big promo, this little teaser trailer, 30 seconds of Aspinall walking out of the darkness. And here he comes, Tom Aspinall, and he's stepping into the lighting. They could even do that. You don't even need to allude to Jon Jones, but after this multiple year-long saga, Aspinall getting all of this hype, the fans rallying behind him, read the room. You have to make the announcement somewhat special. Look at how Dana White announces Tom Aspinall versus, I forget who he's fighting, Ciryl Gane. Really goes to show how shitty the heavyweight title picture is, but just look at the way he announces it.
UFC 321, October 25th, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi. Tom Aspinall will face Ciryl Gane. Aspinall has 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Gane is the number one.
Wow. I'm scared. Tom Aspinall's got 15 wins, and all of them are by finish. Wow.
Unranked heavyweight. You can go to tickets.
Against the number one ranked heavyweight.
Doesn't even say his name, by the way.
You can go to wxwx.com and www.q. Subscribe to UFC on Fight Pass. Make sure to get ESPN. Now we're also going to do Power Slap.
He just moves into the next thing.
Tickets go on sale this Friday. EtihadArena.ae or Ticketmaster.ae.
Ticketmaster.ae. You may as well just add the announcement in between all of the oohs and ahs and the gibbering and the jabbering. You may as well end your UFC 321 announcement after saying Jones is the GOAT, or 320 announcement,
and then start saying, head to WAOD, tickets on sale. Aspinall is going to be fighting the number one contender at AOD. Go on UFC Fight Pass. You could have just done that. It would have made no difference. It's all blending in with the monotone style in which he's speaking.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
And that's all you got. No mention of the fans have been waiting for this one. No energy whatsoever. This is either a complete lack of awareness, or it's Dana White lacking humility and being so stubborn and almost having this resentment against the fan base for people just, calling him out. This is just pure pettiness. That's what it is. I don't think Dana is actually that lacking in awareness. I think that Dana White is petty. I think he's announcing this fight with zero energy, the only time he has energy in the entire announcement, and I don't think it was planned to glaze Jon Jones to piss people off. I just think that's his instinct. Whenever Jones comes up, it's to glaze him. But it goes to show where his priorities are at. It goes to show where his priorities are at. His priorities are in promoting the Netflix Crawford thing. That's when he gets some energy. It's talking about Jones as a diehard fan. That's just all it is. Dana's just a diehard fan of Jones. But it's also a little bit of pettiness. A lot of pettiness. I think Dana White is making a point of doing this style of announcement with Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane. Again, this was one of the biggest controversies that was going on in the UFC for the past year and a half. Really for 2.5 years, but it was getting real bad. Like this year when people were storming the comment sections, spamming every single Dana White and UFC post, and even ESPN MMA posts saying that the UFC needs to strip Jon Jones. You got to read the room. You got to understand that the people are dying to see Tom Aspinall fight for the undisputed belt. And not only that, more importantly, the people are dying to see the UFC put some respect on Tom Aspinall. End all. That's it. They just want to see the UFC promote him as the only guy at heavyweight. They want to see the UFC promote Tom Aspinall without half-assing it because they're still petty about Jon Jones and the fans not liking Jon Jones, and the fans were pissed off with the way that the UFC was enabling Jon Jones. And if you're pissed off with us, then fuck you. We're going to keep doing it. You got to let that shit go. You got to admit that you were wrong, and you got to come out guns blazing. Jones is gone. It's time to switch up. I thought Dana did this yesterday, but apparently no. Apparently no. That was just related to the White House card. But when it comes to anything else, in a heartbeat, Dana White is going to prioritize Jones, the fighter that isn't even on the roster anymore, that turned down $30 million. He's going to prioritize that guy over the current champion who's young, in his prime, who's ready to fight, who says that he wants to fight 4 times a year. He's a phenom. He's knocking everyone out. This is a once-in-a-generation kind of athlete that we're seeing at heavyweight, and they're still putting this low effort, I can't even say half-ass. It's these guys are too lazy to move a finger with the style of promotion that they're doing for this guy. It's fucking disgraceful. And it should piss you off just seeing this shit. Even if you're not a UFC fan, this should make your blood boil. I can't wait till this guy is no longer involved in the UFC. I can't wait. All right? I don't understand it. I don't get it. I mean, think about all the casuals out there that still think Jones is the baddest man, right? They still think of Jones like Daniel Cormier does. DC thinks of Jones as like Tootsie from the fucking Madagascar movie. Tootsie, right? As the lion, getting out of bed, and he's like 20 feet tall. Okay? 20 stories tall, dude. Like, if you just told the casuals that Tom Aspinall scared Jon Jones so much he forced him to retire, and he scared him so much Jones had to turn down $500 million. It was that scary to him. He wouldn't even take 50, 30 million. You can embellish the number a little bit, but the point is, you could just say Jones was afraid of this guy. That's the best way to market him, and why not? What are you, you're worried you're going to ruffle Jon Jones's feathers? Where are your priorities? Why aren't you trying to appease the fans? It's not that hard. This is what you're supposed to do as a business. You're not supposed to piss all of us off. At what point are we going to put our foot down and stop enabling this guy? It's like, on one hand, should we stop watching the pay-per-views? On the other hand, we should support Tom Aspinall and get that pay-per-view. But damn it, dude. I'm still going to support the product because I love MMA and I want to watch the highest level martial arts compete. But still, it needs to be called out. And there's got to be something that we can do to make the UFC start promoting again. It honestly pisses me off. This is not a forced reaction. It's just that there's so much insanity in this that it drives me so crazy. I want to rip my hair out. I want to bang my head against a wall. So, I mean, listen, that's enough yelling. Let's just predict these fights. Let's get into this. By the way, I posted my full card predictions for the UFC Abu Dhabi Whittaker Reynard de Ritter fight night earlier today. If you want to check that out, the predictions are up. But let's talk about these awesome fights. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. Before the Lauren Murphy fight, I asked Magomed, I said, what do you think Pereira's game plan is going to be this time? And he thinks that Pereira is actually going to come in very low output. And he thinks Pereira is going to really, instead of focusing on the leg kicks, he thinks Pereira is going to get a little bit heated, a little bit angry because Magomed was hard to hit. And he thinks he's going to be slinging for the fences. So I think we're going to see a Magomed waiting for Pereira to throw hand. That's just what Magomed told me. But either way, I think Magomed Ankalaev is going to knock Alex Pereira out. I'm just going to say it how it is. That's my prediction. That's my official pick. It's because Alex Pereira, his hand speed, it's nowhere near Magomed's. He was not having a lot of success landing the left hook. All he really had going for him in that last fight were the leg kicks. Offensively, at least. Defensively, his wrestling looked good. It held up. But did Magomed really stick to the grappling? Was he really pushing it that much? He shot a couple of takedowns. He did. But I don't think he put his all into them necessarily. Pereira did a really good job nonetheless defending. But offensively, outside of the leg kicks, Pereira wasn't really able to get success with the hands. And this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. I don't think, and it was a close fight. It was competitive. It's not like Magomed had this avalanche of strikes and tripled the numbers that Pereira had. But Magomed clearly was the guy that was in the lead for most of the fight. He was the guy that was walking Pereira down, landing the big consequential blows. The consequential shots were landed by Magomed, and I think that Pereira, the reason why he had such a hard time landing is because Magomed's distance management is so solid. It's that he's so fast as well, and when he cracked and rocked Pereira early, that got him a lot of respect, and Pereira was a little bit on edge, a little bit wary of letting his hands go, and I think that this time we're going to see a Pereira that is aware of the struggles that he had, and I think he's going to really try to hit Magomed, because, on one hand, you think Pereira's going to be a crafty vet and all this, and maybe he could be, but I think if Pereira has any struggle early landing a glove on Magomed Ankalaev's chin, I think he's going to double down on that approach and really start swinging, and I just think Magomed's so much faster, he's so much speedier, and I think we're going to see him rock Alex Pereira with a straight left hand like he did last time, and I think he's going to knock Pereira out, who's going to get a little bit ahead of himself, who's going to overswing a little bit in this matchup. That's what I think. I mean, listen, Pereira looked like a slowpoke, and I didn't think that was going to be the case. I saw Pereira school Jiri Prochazka. He looked fast against Jiri. He looked fast against Khalil, but against Ankalaev, he just looked so slow. And I think that if he can't land his jab and he can't land the right hand, that left hook is so much harder to set up. And I just don't think Pereira is going to win a fight here where not only does the guy have a threat of a takedown, but he's just got so much faster hands, and he's so hard to hit, and it's like the only thing you can really do is leg kick him. I think Pereira's going to get frustrated in this fight. I think he's going to get knocked out when he overextends on something or gets too confident. Now, of course, Pereira could land that left hook. If Pereira lands, maybe he shows up looking faster than he did. Maybe it was an off night. Maybe that's part of why he looks so slow. But assuming he has a similar level of speed, it's still possible he lands the left hook and KOs Magomed. That left hook is dynamite. But if he has trouble catching Magomed with just the jabs, just regular punches to set the left hook up, I don't think he wins. And I think Magomed chins him. I think Magomed's going to knock him out. I know Magomed doesn't KO a lot of people, but it's light heavyweight. He's fast. He just needs to beat Alex to the punch here and there, and it's definitely possible for him to sleep a guy like Alex Pereira, who was rocked in the last fight. And I think Ankalaev's going to have a lot of confidence going into this rematch, knowing that he won the first. So maybe we'll even see some wrestling out of Magomed as well. So I think Magomed wins. Let's get on to Merab versus Cory Sandhagen. I just think Sandhagen's going to get him. I just think Sandhagen's going to flying knee Merab and put him in the inverted triangle. And I could just see him cracking up the numbers and scrambling out of the bad positions with his little beakers and test tubes. No, I'm kidding. Merab Dvalishvili, this activity is great for him because Merab is one of these guys. He's like Yoel Romero. You know that Joe Rogan story where he's talking about Yoel fracturing his orbital bone, and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor calls up the UFC and says, "Where did you find this guy? No, seriously, where did you find this guy?" Because Yoel's orbital bones are already like half healed. Merab is kind of like that. Merab is running the day after his title fights. He's sparring a couple days later, and he's bouncing off the walls with energy. He's ready to go, and he's still improving. Merab is one of these freaks of nature that because he can recover so well, it ties into just being able to improve and constantly get better. And now he's showing us improved striking. And this is the thing about Sandhagen. I said this after the Figueiredo fight. He looked great against Figueiredo. His grappling is excellent. You guys know how it is, by the way. Everyone that Merab fights is a phenom when it comes to skill. Sandhagen's incredibly skilled. Jan, O'Malley, these guys are all skilled. It boils down to Merab's just built different. Come on. Do I really need to explain this? Merab's going to go out there and fucking destroy this guy. But the way that I envision it is Merab's improved striking that's looking really fast with that insane threat of the physicality grappling pace that he's always going to implement no matter what. With Sandhagen's, "Oh man, I'm worried about the scrambles. Don't give up my back. Don't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that." Sandhagen's going to be on the don't do that, don't do this type of approach. Now, to be fair, he's been talking about taking the fight to Merab, and he's going to focus on what he does, but it's so much easier said than done. I just think when I brought up the Figueiredo fight, after the Figueiredo fight, as good as Sandhagen looked on the ground, let's be honest, he's not doing shit to Merab on the ground. So we just have to scratch that out. Sandhagen's way to success in this fight is to scramble out of bad positions on the ground and to do well in the striking. I don't think he does well in the striking. I'm sorry. Sandhagen has declined in his striking. He looks slower than he did 4 or 5 years ago. Even 3 years ago, Sandhagen looked faster on the feet. I think Sandhagen was the best he ever was on the feet when it came to just effectiveness against Jan, against TJ, even long before those fights, when he fought Mario Batista. Go back and watch the Sandhagen versus Batista fight and compare his striking there, which was, again, this is like 6 or 7 years ago. Compare his striking there to the way that he's looking in his last couple of fights. I'm telling you, the speed difference is night and day. He's so much slower. And Merab is quick twitch. Even a small improvement for Merab on the feet, it's going to be massive for him because of that threat of the takedown. I honestly think Merab is going to outstrike Sandhagen or go tit for tat. So even if he doesn't land 10 more strikes than Sandhagen, it's going to be damn near even because he's fast, because of the threat of the takedown. And also because after a round,
when he forces Sandhagen to move and react to everything that he's doing, Sandhagen's going to be even slower. Merab's going to not slow down because he never slows down. And it's just going to give him confidence to continue to walk through whatever Sandhagen has to throw at him. Sandhagen's not really cracking people that hard. The last time I saw Sandhagen crack anyone with a big shot was against TJ, to be honest. It was the TJ Dillashaw fight. Of course, he was beating up Davison Figueiredo on the ground and hurting him on the ground with big ground and pound shots. He's got great ground and pound, but again, that's just not a factor in this fight. But on the feet, it's been a long time since Sandhagen has cracked anyone. And Merab's got a really good chin. The cardio gives him even better ability to recover, even if he does get rocked. There's just no way Sandhagen's winning this unless he gets a fluke KO win. I'm not going to say fluke because he's very skilled and he's like technical enough to land a really clean shot. So I'm not going to call it a fluke, but I'm just saying Sandhagen has to get lucky insofar as he's not a guy that packs a lot of power. Merab has a granite chin. It's going to have to be one of these weird moments where, oh, there's Sandhagen's once every 10 years KO and it happens to be against Merab. That's the way he wins. He will not win a decision. Not happening. I don't care if he scrambles out of bad positions. Petr Yan has some of the best grappling defense ever. How'd that work out for him? Okay? And you may say, well, Petr Yan's got a worse style to deal with. Okay, but Merab's striking has improved so much. He's going to be in Sandhagen's face, landing three-piece, slick, speedy combinations. And Sandhagen's going to be parrying and focus on parry. Yeah. All right? I'm a Sandhagen fan. I'm actually even down to train with Sandhagen. I'm down to give him some rounds. I'm down to train with him. I'm down to help him out. I like Sandhagen. You know, it would be great to see him as champion. He's one of those guys where I hope that he wins a belt at some point in his career, but I just don't think he's winning against Merab. And I think Merab is literally going to toss him out of the octagon. Okay, not literally, but you get my point. It's going to be one of those things. So expect a Merab victory. Jiri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree. You guys know I can't pick against Jiri in any matchup that's not either Ankalaev, now that Ankalaev outspeeded Alex Pereira, or Alex Pereira, who has proven to be able to beat him twice and schooled him the last time. But I can't pick Jiri to lose against anyone else. I have to pick Jiri. I always pick Jiri. And the easiest explanation is just Yuri's improved defense and head movement against a guy that couldn't even finish, slow poke, waddling forward Jamal Hill. Now listen, it's not to say that Khalil Rountree can't KO light heavyweights, but Jiri Prochazka is one of these guys that just has a granite chin. And unless you have the left hook where you've got weird power, just think of Rogan, weird power, man. Unless you have weird Alex Pereira left hook power, I don't think you're KOing Jiri, even if you hit hard. And Jiri was able to take big punches off of Jamal Hill. He was able to take big punches off of Dominic Reyes. You just can't put this guy out. And you need to finish Jiri in order to beat him. And I think that his improved defense and head movement is going to do wonders for him. Now, of course, this is dangerous, and he is going to get cracked, and he is going to get rocked. This is going to be a war. This is why Jiri Prochazka fights are always so fun, because he still will be hittable, and he's still awkward and sort of flails around a little bit. And so I do see Khalil Rountree early on when he's super fast, like hurting Jiri. But I think eventually Yuri's going to tag Khalil with the right hand, and Jiri Prochazka hits harder. He's probably top 3, maybe the second heaviest hitter in this entire division, and I just pick him to beat every single person by finish, unless it's Alex Pereira, unless it's Magomed. And again, you know, maybe if Khalil Rountree knocked out Jamal Hill, I would consider picking him, but he didn't. So Khalil Rountree has some of the most knockdowns in UFC history, but he's not that amazing at like finishing the job. And I know that's crazy because you see all of these highlights of Khalil Rountree beating people up like they stole something. Oh, he beats people up like he's Batman. But to be honest, I see him knock a lot of people down, like the Eric Anders fight. He knocked Eric Anders down like 50 times. Now, granted, some of those were with leg kicks, but couldn't finish him. Jamal Hill knocked him down like 3 times. Couldn't finish him. Jiri Prochazka is the king at getting dropped and recovering super quickly. And he's not going to waddle forward with no athleticism and no speed, throwing his punches like Jamal Hill. He's fast. That long, rangy, looping right hand. I say looping, you could think it's slow, but
Jiri has a fast looping right hand, and he really punches through people, and I think that's the shot he's going to KO Rountree with. Maybe even a flying knee. So I got Jiri by KO. Tom Aspinall versus Gane. This is interesting because Ciryl Gane is... actually, I don't know. I was going to say he's levels above everyone Tom Aspinall's fought on the feet, but then again, I remember Tom Aspinall fought Volkov on the feet and made Volkov look slow and silly. And that's when Tom Aspinall wasn't in his prime. Volkov, when Tom Aspinall fought him in 2022, wasn't as good as he was when he fought Gane in the rematch, where he got robbed and he should have beat Gane. But Aspinall wasn't as good when he fought Volkov as he is now. He's obviously a lot better. He's a lot bigger, hits even harder. And he made Volkov look slow as fuck. And Volkov was able to just outstrike Ciryl Gane and beat him and take him down. Volkov had a takedown on Ciryl Gane, and Gane just doesn't have any pop. Gane is one of these guys that needs to get into the flow. He needs to have landed 50 strikes on you to start slowing you down. He needs to chip away at you with 65, 70 strikes to get you near a KO. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see the threat that he poses to Aspinall. Like, yeah, he'll be able to land some teeps up the middle, couple of leg kicks, but I just don't... Gane doesn't have crazy power in his hands. He's never knocked someone down with a punch, just like one big punch. It's always, he's got to clobber you on the top of the head after catching you with 10 jabs in a row and 5 switch kicks to the body, and you're already like starting to wilt. And then he catches you off the top of the dome and you wobble around before you go down. Aspinall's just not got any reason to have to respect Gane. And I think Aspinall's a better boxer, and I think he's just going to knock Gane out. And yeah, ultimately, like, I see this fight ending in the first couple of minutes. I think Aspinall chins Gane, first 2-minute KO. And if Gane does a good job at evading the KO shot of Tom Aspinall, and again, he was able to do it against Ngannou, but Aspinall's faster than Ngannou, better technique than Ngannou. If he's able to evade it, Aspinall could just take him down. And if Gane is getting controlled by Ngannou, and if Gane is getting controlled by Volkov, Aspinall is going to twist him into a pretzel. First round finish for Aspinall. I'll say KO, but he might get a submission. And then Aleksandar Rakic versus the Density Maxer. I am going to go with Azamat Murzakhanov. I've seen some people say in comment sections that Aleksandar Rakic is going to style or like school Azamat. Like, I've heard people say this is an excellent matchup for Rakic. What the fuck are people talking about? Rakic got destroyed by Jiri Prochazka, schooled by Ankalaev. To be fair, those are very good fighters. He did well against Jiri. To be fair, he actually did well against Jiri. And Magomed beat Rakic, kind of schooled him a little bit, but I mean, it wasn't that impressive at the time, but in hindsight, given what we know about Ankalaev, maybe you could say that because Rakic was able to hang in there a little bit, maybe he is going to be underrated going into this matchup. But the thing is, though, Rakic just doesn't have good hands. Like, he's got these great kicks. Every now and then he'll land a couple of punches, but his boxing is just weak. And he's one of these, like, really big and explosive light heavyweights, but all of that comes without one-punch KO power. Whereas Azamat, you look at him, he's this unassuming guy, kind of looks fat. If you see him in real life, you understand it's a different kind of thing, different level of density. But, you know, he's a density maxer. He's out there, he's floating around, he's stinging like a butterfly, but he doesn't look good. He looks like a fat guy. Either way, Azamat has a different level of speed. He has a different level of explosivity. And his technique and his boxing and his footwork, it all pairs together, and it actually translates into KO ability. It's not just the explosiveness, it's not just the footwork, it's the boxing skill combined with those two. Whereas Rakic, he's got weak boxing technique, he's got okay footwork, and he's got okay hand speed, but he's sort of got this T-Rex reach. I think Azamat chins him. I think this is going to be a situation where Rakic is going to chew up the legs of Azamat. He's going to be the rangy guy in this situation, but as soon as Azamat lands a big shot on him, Rakic is then going to resort to back foot Rakic mode, where he sort of just is a guy that circles around the outside and circles back and circles down, circles back, and he doesn't throw anything of consequence after the first couple of minutes. And then it's just going to be sitting duck mode where eventually Azamat's going to see that, okay, this guy's not throwing any heat at me. He's just sort of chipping away with these back foot leg kicks. I'm going to knock this guy out, and I think he's going to chin him. So I got Azamat. Rakic is good. Rakic is very good, but he's not elite of the elite in my opinion. He's a tough out for the elite fighters. I think he's able to win a few matchups outside of the top 5. Meaning from 5 through 10, he can beat a couple of those guys. Outside of the top 10, I think Rakic schools most people. I think he schools everyone that's unranked. I think he schools people that are barely ranked, but I think Azamat is good enough to get into the top 5, and I think he's too good with his boxing, too dangerous to lose this fight. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of these early predictions, and let me know what you guys think of Dana White's method of announcing these fights. Until next time. It's time to stop compromising on your diet, put the sweetie treaties down, and enough eating the frosty toasty bite protein cookies just because you see there's protein in them. Guys, there's another world that you can live in, reality, where you can have sweet and tasty comfort foods without bullshit ingredients. And that's why I've created the Real Food Cookbook. That's right. If you want to be able to enjoy yourself while getting lean, while getting in shape, and you want to be able to eat tasty foods, even like chocolate chip cookies, well, the Real Food Cookbook gives you an alternative to all your favorite comfort foods just made with whole and unprocessed ingredients. If you're interested in checking the Real Food Cookbook out, the link is in the description. Use code MMA for 30% off.